There's something special about a wilderness river trip. How quickly things can change from complete calm and serenity to adrenaline charge and total chaos. I think that's why I love doing it so much. While Canada has countless epic wilderness river trips to choose from, the Dumoine River is a classic and much more accessible than others. Winding its way through the thick and hilly backcountry of Quebec, the Dumoine is a canoe tripping dream, combining expansive lakes with miles and miles of runnable whitewater, interrupted periodically by the thunderous roar of a Class 5 beast. It's a challenge for any canoe tripper, but we're not taking canoes. We've chosen to tackle the task with inflatable kayaks, and I'm starting to worry that we might have made a big mistake.
Okay. All right. There they go. We're committed now.
Well, day one on the Dumoine River, but it's not day one on the Dumoine itself because I've spent the past 3 days fishing on the Grand Lac, the big lake, Dumoine, as we do every year at this time in June. For 20 years, group of friends, we've done our annual fish camp trip on the big lake Dumoine. This year, I decided I'm gonna paddle, leave camp early and paddle down the Dumoine River back towards the Ottawa and home. And one of my buddies decided to join me, Kevin, and we've got about 70 kilometers to go over the next 3 or 4 days. A lot of whitewater, but not so much today. We got a little bit of whitewater today, a lot of flat water today. Fortunately, we don't have any strong winds to deal with. But it's one of those trips where there's bound to be adventure, and that's the way every trip I do with Kevin is. We have done so many trips together. So today, after the first little rapid and hopefully a runnable portage, we've got about 15 kilometers of flat before we get really into the whitewater section. I love river trips.
Oh yeah, there's a bit of a horizon.
That's the horizon line.
Okay.
Did we come across the first one right away?
Yeah, first rapid, but then the portage is right after. Water's still cold. All right, well, this is the first mandatory portage, which it's one of the reasons we took these inflatable kayaks instead of canoes on this trip is they don't necessarily need to be mandatory portages. We can definitely run more in these than we can in canoes. But we'll have to scout this one and see.
rocking this one.
I would run it, but you know, you gotta paddle at the level of your paddling partners. Sweet. Wow, that's nice. One portage down. Just put the skeg in the boat too, so these things will track better because we got a bit of a flat water section now. We now have, well, around maybe 12 kilometers of flat. Some big open lake. We go through some narrows, but this is, I guess if there is a grind on this trip, this is it. I guarantee you we're not going to see anybody else doing this trip in an inflatable. We're both in Sea Eagle Explorer inflatables. I'm using the 420X, the longer version, and Kevin's using the 380. And the reason we're using these instead of canoes, which most people who do the Des Moines, it's a canoe tripping, it's a renowned canoe tripping river, is because these give us a chance to run more whitewater, but you still get the benefits of a canoe, of having two big packs, unlike a kayak where you have to break everything into little bags to stuff inside. So it makes the portaging a lot quicker if we need to portage, but I think we can actually run more whitewater with these inflatables than we could with the canoe. We'll soon find out if that's the case. Well, we're through the long flat haul and we just have a little bit here just around the corner basically, and things change once again. We're really into the river again. We got a couple of little rapids, but a couple of what mandatory portages they say. So we'll see if they are mandatory. There's a camp at the end of it, which might be a good spot because it's already 4:30. It's going to take some time to get through two different portages, so we'll see how long it takes us, and energy will dictate where we stop for the night. Not my energy, Kevin's energy, because you know, it's the things you have to consider when you're paddling, adventuring, doing anything with somebody who's just not on the same level. He doesn't agree. Go away, bear. Human coming. See, that's one of the great reasons right there to film your backcountry adventures. See, all I did was pretended to film Kev so that he would go on forward bear patrol on the portage. Simple strategies. You'd think that after 30 years of adventures, he would clue into them. Yeah, once again, it's too much to consider with inflatable kayaks where we are. That's a burly little rapid with the best of gear at the best of times.
The class 4 trail.
Once again, we find ourselves portaging around a rapid that we'd hoped to be able to run, and we're quickly learning that portaging the kayaks over rough terrain is much more challenging. Even though they're not heavy, they're awkward to carry solo, and almost equally difficult to carry together, in particular for the person in back whose view of the trail is obstructed. On the flip side, the open nature of the kayaks make them quick and easy to unload and reload.
Oh, it's another horizon line.
The next major rapid is only a couple of 100 meters ahead, and so we don't even bother tying down our gear, because we know that we're going to walk our gear around any major rapid, even if we decide to paddle the kayaks through them. This keeps our gear safe and makes the boats much lighter and more maneuverable. But after a quick scout, once again, we decide portaging the kayaks is the only good option. Fortunately, the portage trails are only a few hundred meters long, and this particular one has a campsite on the other end, which we're going to be calling home for the night.
What a first day. That was a big day of paddling. We covered 21 kilometers, mostly flat water. That's a long flat water day in an inflatable kayak. Fortunately, there wasn't any nasty winds, headwinds to deal with. And we even had a tailwind for a little bit, but really not much wind at all. It was a big day. Big day, a lot of paddling, a lot of portaging. My body isn't used to these big days because I haven't done a big day like this in 10 months because of my shoulder. And I've got some work to do to get back to the shape that I was in, but it'll come back. Oh, what do we got? Oh, look at that! That's a nice little walleye. Oh, that's a chunk.
Look at that.
We already have walleye.
Look at that. That's hard to let go. Your lucky day, buddy. Lucky day.
Kev can catch fish, I'll give him that, and that was a pretty nice fish. It's kind of funny, that would have been a perfect dinner fish for two of us, but we already have fish cut up, ready to go from last night, so that's even easier. Dinner time.
A bowl of goodness. Get in my mouth. That worked.
Delicious.
Yeah. Well, thanks for watching this far. I hope you've been enjoying this episode. I just want to take a quick second to thank the partners who have helped make this episode and my whole Wild Discovery series possible. And those are Ontario Creates, who has partnered with me for the whole Wild Discovery series for the past, last year and this year. And then, of course, my longtime partners, NRS and Aquabound. Those guys have been partners for a very long time, and not only do they support this Wild Discovery series, they support all the content that I create for you. And so thank you to you guys. Now, this specific episode is also supported by Sea Eagle Kayaks, and you know, I've been a big fan of Sea Eagle inflatable kayaks ever since I tested and reviewed the first one about 4 years ago. And you can find reviews of the kayak that I'm using in this episode, as well as all the other Sea Eagle inflatable kayaks and a ton of other kayaks on my Paddle TV YouTube channel. It's another YouTube channel that I run, which is all about paddling tips and gear reviews. There's almost 100 kayak reviews on that channel. So check that one out as well if you're enjoying this. And lastly, I just want to say thanks to the Friends of the Des Moines, which is a non-profit group that is really just dedicated to keeping this river, well, protecting it, conserving the experience, the history, everything related to it. And there's a lot of volunteers that put a lot of work into it. If you want to learn more about them, you can find them on Facebook. And thank you, because people like me really appreciate the work you put in. Well, let's get back to it now.
Wow. Oh. That was good sleep. Good sleep.
Bugs are pretty bad this morning.
Yeah.
A little breakfast burrito with some extra mosquito protein. We're just wolfing down some food, avoiding the bugs. This bug shelter is definitely a luxury on a trip like this. 12 pounds of extra weight and a significant amount of volume. But when you're dealing with the black flies and the mosquitoes that we've got right now, it is also a little slice of heaven to crawl into. We're doing all our cooking here, organizing of gear. It's just an escape, and a better escape than a little tent, or in my case, a hammock. But we are going to have to leave the comforts of this pretty soon here. We've got a big day. We've got Unlike yesterday, which was a big flat water day, we got a big whitewater day. Starts with right around the corner almost the fish portage, it's called. It's 3 back-to-back unrunnable, they say, falls that are mandatory portages. Based on yesterday, you know, when they've said falls, they've been legit falls. And unless you have a real creek boat, whitewater specific kayak, they're just not reasonable, especially with a load that we have and where we are. But anyway, we'll see. We got to get through that. But then we have a lot of runnable whitewater today with a couple more potential, well, probable portages. So it's going to be a big day of portaging and whitewater. So we better get moving.
Assuming we can't run any of the unrunnables, we've got 5 portages to do today. And as we learned yesterday, that's going to take some time, each one. So, there's no doubt today is going to be a bit of a slog, but a good slog. There's a horizon line here. This has definitely got to be the first falls. So, got to get out on the left before it. It's that simple. Not a big eddy. Woo. All right, well, impressive. Definitely some lines that you could take in here, but once again, can't risk equipment or ourselves. Being remote like this, you just look at things differently. And we're not in a performance whitewater boat. We're in a boat that can handle whitewater quite well, but not technical whitewater. As soon as these inflatables take one good wave, they're full of water. Even though they drain, it takes too long for them to drain for you to have control for a multi-sequence move in the middle of a rapid. You're basically going to be doing the whole rapid in a swamp kayak, and so it's just not worth it. Even though there's definitely a good line at the far side. No, we've got a lot of ground to cover, a lot of great whitewater to paddle today. There's no need for this.
One thing I've learned over the years, having portaged countless times on countless rivers, is not second-guessing my decisions. Once I've made the decision to portage, there's no feeling bad about it. The focus just shifts to getting the portage job done and moving on. And while the inflatables are limiting our ability to tackle the class 4 and 5 rapids, they're making the rest of the whitewater a lot more effortless than it would be in a canoe. Not only are they more maneuverable, but the inflatables are wider and our center of gravities are much lower in them, which makes them extremely stable. Like the first falls, the second major rapid of the Fish portage section has some good lines in it, but our boats are the limiting factor, and so it's a quick and easy decision to take the dry road.
All right, so portage number 2 done. These portages are harder than I was expecting. Onward. So different plan. We want to avoid as much walking with the boats as possible, so we're catching a micro eddy above the drop. Pretty small. Oh yeah, oh nice line, nice line. Beautiful. Sweet. Sweet. All right. Well, that took longer than expected. Just had a little lunch break because it took some energy out of us. But we're through Fish Portage. And now a little bit of flat water and then some whitewater, a little bit of flat water, and then a lot of whitewater. So it'll be worth it. It's always worth it.
Any misgivings we had about bringing the inflatable kayaks are quickly put out of mind as we bounce our way down 11 kilometers, 7 miles of almost continuous Class 1 to 3 whitewater. The only thing more continuous is the smile on our faces. It's the type of whitewater that you can comfortably read and run on the fly without stopping on shore to scout ahead, and so the miles fly by, almost too fast.
Oh yeah! Gonna cover some miles this way.
One of the great things about the Dumoine River is that it's never too low to run. Of course, the earlier in the season you go, the more water you can expect to get. Our trip being early in June, we have a solid medium flow, which means the rapids aren't very technical because most of the rocks are covered by water. The challenge is navigating through the little minefields of holes and breaking waves that the higher water creates.
This is where these boats are awesome. Nice. Well, that sure beats portaging. The day is getting on. It's rapid after rapid. Love this. But it's starting to cool down a little. So every splash that gets me, I'm feeling a little more. Oh no, there's no way avoiding this one. Oh no, no, I got it, yeah! It's funny when the game becomes pick the driest line. Usually that's a sign of a good day. And that is definitely the case today. What an awesome night's sleep. It was cold last night, and that helps. I love sleeping in the cold when you have a warm enough sleeping bag, and I did. And that Haven tent, the lay flat hammock I'm using, it is so nice and comfy. And it certainly doesn't hurt to have the sound of the river right outside. Love it. It's always been my dream, and it still is my dream, to build a home right on the side of it doesn't need to be a full river like this, but it could be a babbling brook, creek, something where you hear that sound to some degree of rushing water. It's like a lullaby when you're going to bed. It's invigorating when you're awake. It's just an awesome sound. Mother Nature chatting away.
There we go. Oh, nice. Okay, we're going. All is good. Boof. Kind of, sort of. Oh, this is pretty nice on a big conveyor belt. That's a horizon line, which makes sense because this is an unrunnable. We're not just going to run that one blind. Interesting.
Frustrating for Kenny.
Well, if you could run them, I think it'd be a little frustrating too, because you wouldn't get to portage as much. Well, this is the last of the reds that we're going to have to deal with, but it's same thing, same story. Totally good to go with a whitewater boat, so that you're not just going to fill up with water and be really hard to maneuver, because there's multiple stages after this first initial significant little drop. You then have these follow-up drops all the way, around the corner. So a bunch of rocks too that the inflatable could get wrapped on if you're full of water and you just can't maneuver. So it looks so good, but nope. We've already started the portage. When we came down to scout, we took our first load, and we just gotta take a few more loads. It's not a long walk, 200 meters. Last one, here we go.
Well, this is what you call a new solution. Way easier, dragging the empty boat. It's not something that's gonna really lengthen the lifespan of your boat, but these boats have a reinforced skin on the bottom, a second durable skin on the bottom, so that you're not gonna wear through the air tube right away. And so we're gonna try this for a little bit, check the bottom, and yeah, hopefully we can keep doing this. I'll tell you what, that is a whole lot easier, dragging these things. Nice, well, this is it. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna check the bottom of the boat down here, but if this is the ticket, this changes things, and I'm gonna be kicking myself for all the hard work we put in through the other portages. Woo. I'm gonna go over here. Oh, it looks good. I mean, this stuff here is just very, very superficial. There's no major, there's no major indentations, no gouges. Yeah, this is, I mean, as long as it's empty, don't have any weight in the boat, I feel really good about dragging these things, because this black layer here is a reinforced layer to protect the main compartment itself. In this case, the drop stitch compartment under here, but then the non-drop stitch, the tubes here. So I will keep close tabs on it, because you could get a wear point pretty quick. It could become a problem quick. And I think we're not going to rely heavily on this, but what a difference. What do you think? Better?
That was way better. That was way better. I'm glad we found it on the last rapid.
Nice. Well, we portaged the worst part, but there's still some good stuff ahead. Oh yeah, and around the corner it keeps on going still.
little bit of a headwind today has made the flat sections more work, which makes these sections much more appreciated. Well, feeling it. We made it 19 kilometers today, and it was a big day. The wind has been on our side for really the whole trip until today, and we fought a headwind, and we had quite a bit of flat water today, and so I didn't bother showing you much of that because you'd just be watching a whole lot of grunting and groaning and moaning, definitely some complaining, but it's all part of the adventure. We made it to camp, and we actually made it fairly early because we got an earlier start, early being 5 o'clock or so, so enough time to go. There's a beautiful little beach over there. Set up a chair, relax before doing anything camp related. Priority, relax. Recharge. Regroup. Salut. Look at that. What a beautiful sunset. Man, we've had such a gorgeous trip. Great weather. Today we had a pretty strong headwind to battle. It was beautiful weather, but a strong headwind. It just whooped us. 3 days of hard paddling, finishing today with a lot of flat water and high winds. It was not high winds, but just headwind. It was tiring, and we are both done and crashing out early. So this is me signing off for today, but it's also me signing off for this trip because tomorrow morning we're getting an early start. We're hopping up early, and we've got 11 kilometers, 7 miles left to go, and weather coming in. So we're gonna get an early start and just pound it out. And so I'm not gonna bring you on that part of the trip, but I will be bringing you on another trip very soon, because the shoulder has passed its test. This was the first trip in 10 months since since my shoulder fell apart, basically. And even though it's sore now, the whole rest of me is really sore too. And I don't think it's an indication of it being a problem. I think it's an indication of it just being tired. And so, more trips coming. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching this one, and
we'll see you again soon. I'm gonna fall asleep to gorgeous sunset, one of the most beautiful camp spots.